Talking to Tony Boselli, of course. He's going to be on the game this weekend. Pats and the Chiefs, Westwood 1. Get into that now on Tiki and Tierney.
Yeah, what do you look at this matchup, Tony? I know you're probably up there. When are you going up there? Probably now, right?
Yeah, I'm actually driving. I'm driving to the airport.
Yeah, so when you get up there and you sit down and you do these meetings with the coaches and some of the marquee players of the team, the obvious answer or obvious question is injuries and how that is going to change game plans. Which team, as you look at this before you start doing some of this research, do you say has the advantage here? Because the Chiefs have been on fire, 11 in a row, and the Pats have been pushing through but kind of limping through.
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, you look at the Patriots and the injuries they've sustained, and now the questions, you hear with Rob Gronkowski having to get some sort of medical attention to his knee. Yesterday didn't practice. There's with so many injuries on that offensive side of the ball, and for me, it starts up front. I mean, it's an offensive line that's had 22 different starting combinations. They've got guys all over the place. They're really young on the interior, and they've struggled as of late in protecting Tom Brady. He's sacked the third most times in his career this year. And if you can't protect Tom, I mean, listen, the Giants won a Super Bowl by knocking Tom around a couple times, and they weren't effective. That with the combination of, Edelman coming back off the foot injury, it'll be interesting to see how he is in and out of cuts. He's a guy who's a start-stop receiver underneath, out of the slot. And then if Gronkowski's limited, it's going to be really difficult for the Patriots, I think, to move the ball against the Chiefs, who are really good defensively. On the Chiefs injuries, you have Macklin. It's a big question. But I don't know. I mean, it's going to hurt them, but it's not like the Chiefs were this explosive passing game team anyways. They're more of a complete game. Control the ball, run it, good decisions by Alex Smith, and then play great defense.
Yeah, I hear you, Tony, but if I'm the Pats and I'm sitting back and I'm saying, okay, let's just assume for a second that Macklin doesn't play. Now you'd have to think in theory that Kelsey's efficiency is compromised because you could double him the whole game. And while you're right, they don't take a ton of vertical pops, at least the possibility frees up the running game. I got to disagree with you. If Macklin doesn't play, I don't know how they score 10 or 13 points. I don't see it.
No, I'm not. I agree with you that it's going to be difficult. But tell me, I worry about Tom Brady being upright after the first quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go back and watch the Miami game, and Miami cannot rush the passer like the Chiefs can, and you go watch that game with that offensive line, Tom Brady is lucky he's playing this week. The shots that he was taking. And so if you hit Tom Brady, they don't have a great running game because of all the injuries they've had in their backfield, and you can't protect. And Gronkowski is limited. Tell me where the points are going to come on either side, and so it's a situation. Listen, I think I still give a slight edge to the Patriots because they're playing at home and they're so good at Gillette Stadium. But it's going to be difficult for both teams, and I just look at the Chiefs and the way they're built, and they're not dependent on one guy.
Yeah.
It's a more balanced approach, and I think they have a little bit better of a defense, especially when it comes to rushing the passer.
Tony, do you think that Chandler Jones sits or misses any sort of a series or two? I mean, that was, in my opinion,
or should.
Yeah, that's the better. Should he start?
Boy, it's a great question. It's so easy for us to sit on the sidelines, and our jobs, no one's going to judge us whether we win or lose, and for us to say, be the moral police and say, hey, that guy shouldn't play because he did whatever he did. But you're talking about their best pass rusher, and you're talking about a guy who's really dynamic, and it's a big playoff game. If he's healthy, I think you play him. I would. I mean, and I guess you could sit him for a series or two, but what does that mean at the end of the day? I mean, is everyone going to give Bill Belichick a big pat on the back? Oh, you really are – what a great guy you are because you sat him for 2 series?
No, but it probably removes criticism.
Well, I mean, if you're worried about criticism, then, you probably should get in a different business.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to make a decision what's best for your team, for the 53 guys who are going to be out there. You want to make sure he's healthy and is not going to do anything. There's rules in place in the league that handle any substance abuse issues, drug testing, everything else. The reality is, the word is, he bought a synthetic, which is legal to buy, amazingly. And anyone who has kids and teenagers, it scares you to death. I have 5 kids, and it scares you to death. You can buy that crap over the counter.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's a league issue. If he gets popped for a test, and the league deals with it.
Yeah, that's true. I have 5 kids as well, Tony, and mine are getting to the age where they're starting to ask questions about those things when they happen to sports stars. Doug Peterson, offensive coordinator for the Chiefs, is taking a head coaching job with the Eagles, and I know it's not a factor. Andy Reid has been quietly really good with Kansas City. They've been in the playoffs 2 of the 3 years he's there. Is that a factor here? Him thinking about what's next.
I don't think so, because there's nothing he has to worry about, really. I mean, the task at hand is probably more important to him at this point. I mean, I'm sure there's some excitement. And, human nature is to kind of think a little bit ahead and what's out there for you. But there's nothing he can do right now about it. Maybe make some calls for, building a staff and everything else. But my guess is he's focused at the task at hand, and most of the work's done. And at the end of the day, listen, it's a football game. You know what you want to do. You know what they're going to give you. There's some familiarity with the teams. So I don't think it has a huge factor overall in the outcome of this game.
Tony, good spot. Safe travels, and look forward to the call. Westwood 1. Tony Boselli is going to be on at the Pats of the Chiefs coming up this weekend. Thank you, man.
All right, guys. Have a good day.